Okay, let's jump right into this. We are breaking down the highly anticipated PET Weekly Report for the very first week of August 2026. Now, if you're navigating the commodities and engineering polymer space, you already know how unbelievably fast things shift. I mean, to put into perspective, we're talking about over 1 million metric tons of PET being produced and shipped around the world every single week. It's literally like a massive, constantly shifting puzzle. One week, you've got a comfortable surplus, and then bam, the next week, a random supply chain bottleneck completely flips the board. So in this explainer, we're going to untangle the latest global market shifts and highlight the future trends you absolutely need to know to stay one step ahead.
But right before we start throwing numbers around, let's establish exactly where this intelligence is coming from. All the data, the insights, the strategic recommendations we're unpacking today, they come straight from Polymer Bazaar. And their whole philosophy is built on 3 pillars: price, prediction, and profit. Really, our main goal here is to take their deep, complex market data and translate it into a direct strategic advantage for you. Because let's face it, when you actually grasp the underlying mechanics of the market, you stop just reacting to prices and you start anticipating them. And that's exactly the edge we're going to build right now.
All right, looking at the global picture, what's genuinely fascinating is this almost universal sense of caution. It's like the whole world is holding its breath. Over in the US market, buying is remarkably weak. Everyone's just sitting on the sidelines waiting for some sort of price clarity, which has kept things totally flat at $1,520 a metric ton. Europe is a really similar story, but honestly with a pretty strange twist. Demand is dull, converters are just burning through their existing stock instead of buying fresh, so prices are stalled at 1,200 euros per metric ton. But here's the kicker. There is an active shortage of paraxylene right now, which as you know is absolutely essential for making PET, and yet prices still aren't budging. Crazy, right? Moving down, Turkey is dealing with sluggish demand and fewer Asian imports, sitting quietly at $1,300. And finally, China. Feedstock costs there have actually dropped, so buyers are in survival mode, strictly buying only what they absolutely need. That's keeping spot prices super cautious at 7,400 RMB. So yeah, a massive global game of wait and see.
So how do you actually stay ahead of global shifts like this? Markets can turn on an absolute dime, even when everyone is playing it safe. The secret is having real-time data right in your pocket. Polymer Bazaar has actually made this incredibly easy with an AI-powered chatbot. Seriously, it takes 2 seconds to set up. You just save the number you see right here to your phone, shoot them a quick WhatsApp with the word PET or prediction, and I kid you not, in about 5 seconds you get instant reports and trend forecasts sent right back to you. It's an absolute game changer for cutting through the noise and getting straight to the data that matters.
Okay, let's pivot over to the Indian bazaar and see how this whole situation is building locally. While the rest of the world is kind of taking a cautious breather, India is where things get really dynamic. And it all revolves around this benchmark number right here, $1,200. This is the baseline for overseas suppliers. As of right now, they're holding their PAT bottle grade offers, specifically that 0.80 IV grade, for August shipments at exactly $1,200 per metric ton, CIF India. Meaning, of course, the seller is eating the cost, insurance, and freight to get it to the port. And this specific baseline is setting the stage for literally everything else happening domestically.
And this brings us to the domestic tension we've been tracking, which is super interesting. On one hand, the major players are holding the line. Reliance Industries, for example, kept their PET prices completely unchanged across all grades during their August 1st revision. But watch what the buyers on the ground are doing. We are actually seeing a moderate uptick in purchasing after the last Ex-Works price hike. Why? Because availability out there remains moderately tight. These buyers aren't just sitting around waiting like the folks in Europe or the US. They are actively bracing for more hikes and scrambling to lock in their supply right now before things get noticeably more expensive.
Which leads us directly to the single most critical takeaway from this entire report. The official recommendation from Polymer Bazaar is loud and clear. They strongly suggest procuring at current levels. Do not wait. And the logic behind this urgency is rock solid. Look at Asian feedstock prices. They are sitting on the higher side right now. Because of that, the landed costs for importing those feedstocks are inevitably going to go up for domestic producers. It's a domino effect, right? When producers face higher input costs, they pass those costs right along to you, meaning local Ex-Works prices are highly likely to spike in the coming days. If you sit around waiting for the market to give you a more obvious signal, you are almost certainly going to end up paying a premium. The smart money is moving right now. To make sure you have absolutely everything you need to execute on this strategy, you're definitely going to want the full data breakdown. You can grab the complete PDF report straight from polymerbazaar.com. Also, if you're actively hunting for PET buying and selling leads across India, don't hesitate to reach out to their relationship manager directly at the number on the screen. The data is telling us a very clear story today. The global market might be holding its breath, but the underlying pressures in the Indian supply chain are building fast. So the only question left for you is, are you going to lock in your materials today, or will you be the one caught paying the premium tomorrow? Thanks for tuning into this explainer, and we'll see you next time as we decode the next big market shift.